moments. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you can talk about vaccine adverse events. Susan, we have FDA and CDC clearance to do so. So you can't take this down so long as we're reading the approved words from the alphabet agencies. What did we learn?
Yeah, the FDA said on Thursday it's limiting the use of the J&J COVID-19 vaccine for adults due to the risk of a very rare blood clotting syndrome. We've known this for months and months and months, maybe even years at this point, that this caused blood clots. But they said that it has increased the risk of thrombosis with, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, thrombocytopenia syndrome, which limits the limiting of the authorization. So, I mean, I understand this. I think it's legitimate. But do you think that it is a coincidence that they're only acknowledging vaccine injury in the single non-mRNA vaccine? Like,
I'm sure that's just because the old tech has been outperformed by the new tech. Imagine that.
Right. The caveat is that what they're saying, although I don't believe that this is going to be true, the J&J shot can be administered in cases where authorized or approved COVID-19 vaccines are not accessible, or if an individual is less keen on using the two shots. But is this actually true? Are they going to allow this in the military for people to get the J&J?
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know if they have any other limitations beyond what they've stated, but okay. So the J&J shot kind of dead, but of course again, it's news that comes out a year after in a lot of cases they made you. So thanks for the information.
Thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Where did I hear this the other? Oh, it was in Obama's speech. Did you catch Obama's speech at Stanford like a week or two ago?
Yeah.
And he talked about how we need to censor on social media and all this. There was a point he made in that speech, and when I did a video on it, I didn't include it because it wasn't really relevant to the speech components. But he said in there, one of his points on misinformation was that we have all these people posting vaccine misinformation online when we all know that the vaccine has now been clinically tested by billions of you. That's what he said. It was
great.
A weird way to phrase it, but he said, you guys were the clinical testing.
Yeah.
He said that openly, and it was just like, I'm sorry, what? Not me specifically, of course, because I remain a pureblood, but I was the test. You told everyone it was safe. Not they were the guinea pig. Now you're saying, well, we know it's safe because you were the guinea pig. Oh, well, thank you. After the fact, I appreciate that.
Well, what do people expect? I mean, if you got the vaccine, this is on you.
Well, as a matter of judgment, I would agree. However, we know that there were all sorts of coercive mechanisms deployed. It's not necessarily just on you if every aspect of your life is threatened if you don't comply.
Choices were still made by the individual, though.
I agree.
There were elements of coercion, but people could have tried harder to not get the vaccine.
I agree that you do exercise choice ultimately, but the amount of unjust coercion put against people was, it flies in the face of everything they're saying now.
No, I totally agree. But people were also unwilling to change their comfort status. My brother uprooted his entire life not to get the vaccine.
Well, and it's frustrating too. And I don't know his exact circumstance, obviously, so I'm not speaking to that. But for a lot of people, you do that only to find out that the job that you left doesn't even require the vaccine anymore, like 2 months later.
Yeah.
So it's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell was all of this for?
What was it for? Yeah.
Anyway, we also have some information from Pfizer, the trusty mRNA tech over at Pfizer. Now, Pfizer published its post-authorization adverse events reports to the FDA. Marjorie Taylor Greene published tweeted rather a particular page of the report that she says shows that 1,223 people died, citing a line in the report that shows this number of fatal case outcomes. But per Newsweek, that claim is fact-checked false. Newsweek saying this and others. Get a load of this, some of these paragraphs here. While the report discussed adverse reactions to the vaccine in a 90-day period, and the figures are genuine, the pharmaceutical company, that being Pfizer, has said the documents do not link the vaccine as being responsible for people's deaths. And when Pfizer says it, you can bet it is the God's honest truth. And of course, the FDA agrees. Scroll down a little further. It's unclear whether the vaccine was the cause, a spokesperson for the FDA told Reuters. In fact, reviews by the FDA and CDC have determined that the vast majority of the deaths reported are not directly attributable to the vaccine. So in other words, it's not clear whether these people died from or with the vaccine. But in the context of the virus itself, we were all told that was conspiratorial thinking. Now, if you get the shot and get killed by a hammer, it's not a vaccine death, which I don't know how many of those there are. I agree that probably shouldn't be attributed to the vaccine. But reasoning they were treating as preposterous within the last year even suddenly is reversed to defend the vaccine itself. Welcome to the club, FDA and I just love the fact checks openly say, well, Pfizer has said that's not what it is. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being Pfizer's spokesperson. Newsweek. I'm glad we can trust that.